They will trade all the parts for the best car.
I'm not gonna trade anything. These are my parts. They stole them from me. You understand this?
Oh, easy, easy.
Hey Nyobi Comics, bringing awesome much fun.
Keep talking about love, baby, you're right into the core. Keep talking about love, just like I told you before. I've been to the edge. There I stood and looked down. You know I lost a lot of friends there, baby. I got no time to mess around. So if you want it, got to bleed, boy, baby. Yeah, got to bleed, baby. You got to bleed, baby. Got to bleed, baby. Keep talking about love.
Boom shakalaka, she's on fire.
Keep talking about love, just like I told you before. Keep talking about love. Don't wanna talk about love. Don't need to talk about love. Ain't gonna talk about love.
We will stand and fight.
Oh my Gucci-ness. Oh my Gucci-ness.
supercharged, not them. They no longer matter.
You're going to take a baseball bat to a horseman, finish the job, because there's one rule of gang fighting. See, we are the original gang, and we're the most vicious in all of professional wrestling history. They send one of yours to the hospital, you send one of theirs to the morgue. You're going to take a baseball bat to a horseman, finish the job, because there's one rule of gang fighting. See, we are the original gang, and we're the most vicious in all of professional wrestling history. They send one of yours to the hospital, you send one of theirs to the morgue.
Then what I say? I said I will shut that shit down.
Am I a boomer? Huh? Am I a boomer? Huh? Boom! How about that?
We are the future, Charles, not them. They no longer matter. We are the future, Charles, not them. They no longer matter.
Well, they say it's kind of frightening how this younger generation swings. You know, it's more than just some new sensation. Well, the kid is into losing sleep, and he don't come home for half a week. You know, it's more than just an aggravation. And the cradle will ride. Yes, the cradle will ride. And I say rock crawl. And when some local kid gets down, they try and drum him out of town. They say you could at least fake it, boy. Fake it, boy. At an early age, he hits the street, winds up tied with who he meets, and he's unemployed. In the cradle will ride. In the cradle will ride. And I say rock call. Rock call.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Have you seen Junior's grades?
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world on HBO pay-per-view. Ladies and gentlemen, from Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, let's get ready to rumble!
They try and drum him out of town. They say you could at least faked it, boy.
I am the best wrestler in the world. I've been the best ever since day one when I walked into this company, and I've been vilified and hated since that day because Paul Heyman saw something in me that nobody else wanted to admit. That's right, I'm a Paul Heyman guy.
this is the truth of it. Fighting leads to killing, and killing gets to warring, and that was damn near the death of us all. Look at us now, busted up and everyone talking about hard rain. But we've learned, by the dust of them all, Bartertown's learned. Now when men get to fighting, it happens here, and it finishes here. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
1, 2. Finally, The Rock has come back!
This is home, JR! Right here!
Home. Best there is, the best there was, or the best there ever will be. All hail the Ayatollah of rock and roller! Well, if you wanna see other guys, baby, I can let it slide. You want a lover, you want a friend, mama, I can be both of them. I got the tools to satisfy you. Look at me, I have the power. Come on, baby, finish what you started. I'm incomplete.
Oh, let's try this and see if the test will work. I was on a little earlier this afternoon, and apparently, even though OBS says that my sound levels were fine, apparently they were not. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a test. It's only a test. Do not adjust your system. Do not adjust your television. You don't need to fuck with your phone. We're just going to do a test. A little test. Come on, baby, finish what you started. We're gonna finish what we started a little earlier this afternoon. That is our weekend recap. This is it. But in order to do that, I gotta check the stream. We never cross the streams. Let's see where we're at. Let's see if I speed up and what happens. See if the test will work. Oh yeah, that's fine. I was on a little earlier this afternoon. A little bit too loud though. And apparently, even though OBS says that my sound levels were fine. All right. We should be good with that. We should be good with that. Little Van Halen in the background. A little Van Halen. There's been something wrong with the mic and the whole fucking OBS setup where my audio just doesn't sound like it did a month ago. And I don't know if that's updates, drivers, whatever, or it's just maybe it's OBS and YouTube telling me it's my time to go. You know? I don't know. I do know we just got hot off of the convention weekend with the East Coast Comic Expo. And I'll just start off with saying thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me as a guest. I appreciate it. It was a long, long time coming. It was a long road to get there. It was a little bumpy here and there. But at the end of the day, we made it happen, Captain, right? One man in particular made that happen. We'll just go with his first name, Brent. Brent made it happen. And I want to thank Brent personally for making that happen. He was my advocate throughout that whole thing. The one man that stuck his neck out for me, and I do appreciate that. We got through it, man. We done it. It's over. We can close the book and we can close. We can put a bow on that. We can put that one away. You know what I mean? And it was a fine weekend. You know, sold maybe about $300 worth of stuff. You know, got a couple of books signed by the X-Men writer. I bought one Red Sonja book and had one small commission done, and that was it. Right? I didn't spend a lot of money. I didn't really talk to, you know, the numerous guests that were there. There was like one or two people that I went out of my way to make sure I went and seen. And that was it, you know. For me, it was more about the people that came up to me than it was about me coming up to other people, right? It's just it, you know. I've come to learn, even though it was a pleasant weekend and there's no drama, that you can't please everyone. You know, you can't please everyone. And I'm done trying. You know, I'm done trying, right? You know, for me to have gotten the guest spot, I had to go through a lot of hoops. I had to do a lot of red tape. I had to walk on a lot of eggshells. I had to constantly prove myself to others. I had to impress. I had to put my best foot forward. And there's nothing wrong with some of that. With most of that. The parts that I don't like when it comes to this sort of stuff, it's just, you know, being looked at as maybe a black sheep. Bah! You know what I mean? Because you know, if you get canceled, if you get removed, if you get slighted in any way, right? Even if it's 7 years ago, word travels. People talk and people gossip and kernels of truth become mountains of lies and bullshit. You know what I mean? And I'm done trying to prove anything to anybody. The only things I need to prove to is the woman that gave me birth and the Lord Almighty above. That's it. You know. You know, when I was at the con, they generally do like a little gathering afterwards. And at that gathering, you know, I spoke to someone and they told me just how much vetting went into just even approving me to be around there, you know. You know, how much social media and emails that they crawl through and probably endless hours of watching my YouTube stuff just to make sure that I wasn't out here saying or doing something that they would be considered out of line. Right? I don't like that. I don't. You know, I don't like being put underneath the microscope in such a fashion. And to the point in which that they did it. It's overkill. Not needed. But that's all right. As I said, I'm done trying to prove myself to anybody. To me, getting back into the swing of things and being a guest was the ultimate end goal. You know, you know, those accolades, those opportunities were removed from me in 2019. You know, the first year I came back into the scene, I wasn't even allowed to have a table, right? I was told to walk the floor, shake some hands, and make some apologies, which I did. The second year, I was allowed to have a table. And then the third year, you know, I was granted guest spotlight. And I can tell you that some people were glad to have me there, and some people weren't. And I don't think I'm saying anything that's a big shock or big secret or, oh no, you don't do that. Because again, I'm done trying to prove myself to someone. I've done 3 years of trying to prove myself to people, and it's still for some. For others, it's good, but for some, it's not good enough. Well, all right, you made your decisions. I mean, after all this time, no matter what it is I do, there is no changing some people's mind, right? And again, I shouldn't even have to try. My accomplishments, my accolades, The boots on the ground reports from the people that have interacted with me says differently. Says differently. So, pleasant weekend. Not as much money as I was hoping to make, but I mean, 300, it's okay, you know. I think the last time I did the show, I made about 5, right? Close to it. Yeah, I know. And the reason why was because I had some filters on my mic trying to improve the audio quality. And what all that did was sort of muffle everything, right? So I probably sound like shit, but it's at least loud enough for you to hear it. So at some point, I'm going to have to re-listen to the stream and try and tweak audio settings to get this right. But at the same time, YouTube is another thing that I don't really care about anymore. You know what I mean? My problem, and good to see you, Fatal J. My thing is I just want to put out this last book, right? We got like 8 pages left to color. Then we can, make the print file and, get books and mail out books. Get that final issue out into the people's hands who are backing me, who do support me, who believe in the work, right? That is sort of the one thing left that's hanging over my head that we need to get done and get done soon. Now, I want to be mailing books out in July. I want to put an order in 2 weeks. Like, I'm going to have to start cracking the whip on some people here so that we can get this moving. You know what I mean? Because after that, I'm going on an extended break. And conventions is going to be the last thing I'm going to be worried about. And doing new books is going to be the last thing I'm going to be worried about. Right? It's going to be a while before I put out anything new again. And it's not for a lack of not wanting to do it. I would be fine. And I was fine, to be honest with you, operating the way I was operating during the time when I was persona non grata. I was doing my Kickstarters, doing my eBay, doing my show. For 5 years straight, never touched a convention floor. And I was fine. Just fine. And I think maybe that's what I'm going back to. And that's even if. And that's a big if. We put out anything new. Anytime soon. And again, it's not for a lack of desire. It's a lack of money. This always, in the end, comes down to money, right? Because I don't draw, it takes about $6,000 to make a comic book after you pay for the art and the lettering and the color, okay? You're spending about $6,000 for the team to get this done, So not only do you have to recoup $6,000, some people can't even get that on Kickstarter. I'm lucky that I'm one of the few that can. But you have to recoup the printing and the shipping, which is like $3,000 for shipping, about $3,000, $3,500 for your print run, depending on how many orders you got and how many variants and reprints you got to do. So by the end of the day, you're looking at about $12,000, $13,000, and that's just to get going. That's just to get the book out. It's a lot of money, right? Now, I can do a Kickstarter and cover most of that, but there's nothing left for me. I got nothing at the end of that, right? It's all spent. It's all gone. By the time Kickstarter takes their fees, by the time, you pay all the unexpected expenses, and by the time you get your supplies, your Gemini mailers, your bags and boards, your bubble wrap, your tape, etc., it's all gone. It's all gone. And it's stressful because you're in an environment you're in an environment where you're constantly being judged. You're constantly being scrutinized. I don't like that. Right? I don't want to be underneath the examination table for anybody. And there's a way I can stop that. There's a way I can stop that. And that's just not to be involved. I personally, myself, need money more than I need a comic book. Okay? I have, I'm 51. I'm in between jobs. I just applied to a job. I'm not going to say where, because I don't want anyone else applying to it. But I applied to a fairly decent job. We'll see what happens. We'll see, if anything comes of it. I have a pretty good reference from someone that works at the same spot going in. And I think if that lands, or, any other job that lands, because that's my priority this summer is finding work, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to worry about having money in the bank. I'm going to worry about making sure that I'm able to keep up with the bills here. I'm going to be worried about, this final stage of life. For 12 years, I busted my hump trying to get this done. For 12 years, I've been the black sheep. For 12 years, I've been the soccer ball for many people to kick around. And I'm done with that. I'm not a follower. I'm a leader. I'm not some guy that you can just shove in a corner. I'm too outspoken for that. I'm too loud for the algorithm, man. "12 years, John. Years. And I'm kind of done with it, I'm not done with comics per se. If the new job, if I get hired sort of stuff and that works out and I got money again, we can certainly come back and revisit this. But it's hard to get blood from a stone. And right now, I'm trying to draw blood from a stone. So, and I've been saying this for months, that my priority number one is just to get this last book out. At least I can say the Outbreak series is done. We still got, a couple loose threads hanging. Savage Syn number 3, Nyobi Penguina number 2. But I'm going to be honest with you. In comic books, not everything gets completed. So many runs that people have started have never gotten to their final conclusion. And that might be the case with some of these. I don't know. Again, we're talking about projects that aren't the main vein that probably won't cut the mustard financially. And it sucks because I would like to do that final issue of Savage Syn, and I would like to do part 2 of Nyobi Penguina. But I don't have the money. I'm broke. And my haters will love it. Ha ha, look at his broke ass, And they'll make fun of that and they'll run with that. And go for it. Because it doesn't matter to me anymore. Because when this final issue is out, I'm fucking walking off to the sunset. On my pale horse I will ride. I'll tip my hat and say goodbye to everyone on the way out. Because there's more important things in life than just busting my hump and taking shit from people who don't give a shit about me. To the ones that do, to my advocate, thank you. I wish everyone was like you, but they're not. I wish everyone had saw it the same way, but they don't. I am always going to be the black sheep here. And that's not acceptable. That's not good enough. Just like the song says that's playing in the background, I want it all. And I want it now. Understand? I'm an all or nothing sort of guy. I don't like in between. I don't like walking on eggshells. I don't like having to censor half the things I want to say. I don't like having to be the court jester and dance around for the enjoyment of others. It's not happening anymore. If someone wants to invite me to an event, great. Please invite me. But if you're going to, scrutinize me and treat me like the black sheep and, give me that fake politeness, you know the type, right? Where you see people, they don't really like you, but they smile and say hi anyway. Because that's what we do in a civilized society. I could care less. I could care less. I have and always will be a guy that will dance to the beat of his own drum. I wonder what got this started. That's the question. It's a fair question. I just got some dirty looks at this last show I was at from some people. I got some, just bad vibes here and there. I mean, the weekend overall was fine and there was no drama and no problems. But I can tell, right? When you walk by someone and they look at you and they turn their head immediately the other way, or, people are walking around and as soon as they glance at the Nyobi table, it's an immediately 180 and they avoid that area that I'm in completely, people you used to be friendly with see you and they immediately snub their nose at you. It was that type of stuff that was happening. And I'm fucking done with that, man. I'm done with that. I got what I wanted. And what I wanted was closure on this whole thing. And to me, the book is closed. I'm happy that that I got to do it. I'm happy that some people were there to enjoy it. But at the same time, I was uncomfortable a good part of that weekend. And I want to be free. I want the chains to be gone. That's the story, right? I just, I was getting weird vibes from certain people. I don't like that. If I'm not fully welcome somewhere, then don't bring me in. If anyone thinks that I could be a problem, even if you think there's a 5% chance of that, don't bring me in. If my YouTube show is a problem for you, don't bring me in. I'm okay, trust me. I'm kind of over the need to be wanted and accepted when I'm not. I know what works for me and what doesn't. And trying to be friends with people who have no interest in being my friend is not something I'm going to do anymore. As the kids would say, it's time to lock in, man. And, you know, I got to lock in with life. Done comic books for 14 years, give or take. And it's been an interesting journey, and I learned a lot through it. But I also learned just how polarizing that industry is. And how it's built on the backs of who you know and not what you know. And that's true. It really is. And to anyone out there listening, if you're new, God bless you, man. If you're busting your hump and you're trying and you're tabling and you're paying $100 and selling $50 worth of product, because you really are the boots on the ground, you know, part of this movement. But yeah, you know, like I said, there was no problems with the weekend. It was fine. But, you know, I could tell that there, you know, some people did not want me there. And I'm not just talking like, you know, the odd person walking by. I'm talking people that may have been staff. You know, when I had that conversation in the backyard with one of these event people, and they told me the emails that they had to crawl through and look at, and problems that I've had with other people, and how that all had to check out and be amended and stuff. You know what? I'm just like, man, if you guys really had to go through all that, you should have just left me alone. Should have just left me alone. You know, I got privy to information that I wasn't privy to before. Now I have it, and I don't have all of it. I'm sure there are things that they didn't tell me, you know? But I know that I'm not going to be involved for a while. I know I'm going to sit next year out. You know what I mean? And I'm good with that. In fact, I'm kind of relieved. It's like, you know, doing this stream has allowed me to unwind a little bit, unleash a little bit. Because it's done now, right? Everyone can just move on and do their own things. I'm putting the Rebel back in Rebel Comics. I'm done dancing for others. Understand that. You're going to take me, man. You are going to take me as I am, or don't take me at all. I'm not your puppet. So again, I want to make sure that everyone is clear on this, that there was no problems at this show. The show was fine. The show was pleasant. As I said, though, I could tell that there was some vibes in there from certain people that didn't adjust well with me. I didn't let it known. I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't, you know. I kept that all to myself until now. But now it's over. Now it doesn't matter. It'd be nice to be able to go and everyone's like, yay, yo, it's cool. We're glad to have you. But not everyone was like that. And for me, I need everyone to be on my side. Not 50% or 60%. I need 100%. I need to be lifted on the shoulders, goddammit. I need to be like, you know, being passed around like I'm body surfing. If it's not that, I'm not interested. I know what I bring to the table. I bring a lot of fun. You know, anyone that's interacted with me in the last 3 years, I'm going to tell you, man, I love talking to that guy. That guy knows a lot about Kickstarter. That guy really gave me some good advice. That guy really encouraged me. That guy makes me want to do comics. That's my job. And that doesn't stop. This channel's been doing that for fucking 6 years. Years, John. Years. But I do know the journey's coming to an end. And I'm not trying to burn bridges on my way out. I'm just saying, you know, I'm done trying to impress people. And I just want to make it clear that if you know anyone in the future that would like to have me at their event, you have to do it knowing I am's who I am's. I think people put too high of a standard on me. Their expectations are too much. I'm an old school fucking headbanger, man, and I have that mentality. You know, if I have, you know, I'm like the Tommy Lee of the fucking indie comic book industry. You can't handle that, and don't bring me in. I won't be mad. You're not even going to hear from me. You know what I mean? You're not even going to hear from me. My focus, as I said, is now sort of what I do outside of comics. Getting a job. Getting this place straightened out. Preparing for, you know, the next 10, 20, 30 years of my life. And I don't think comics is going to be a large part of that. If the money was there, I'd be singing you a different tune. But I'm telling you guys, the money's not there. I've had several conversations over the weekend about that particular issue. One lady in particular who should be just making a living on her art is struggling. And we're talking, she's done covers for Titan Comics and other publications and still has trouble getting work. Still has trouble, getting, the money that she needs every month. She told me that she's looking at doing art, making a living doing art, but it's going to be outside of comics. So, Nyobi Outbreak number 5. It's drawn. We're going to finish coloring it, and it's going to come out. And I'm going to love it. I'm going to have that comic in my hand, and there's going to be a feeling of completion and another closure for me. We might try and attempt the trade paperback as a Kickstarter, but I don't know if I have high hopes for that. Right? And even if we did do the trade paperback, it would have to do gangbusters. Gangbusters. For it to be able to pay for a new project. Because if I do the trade paperback and it only raises $14,000, and I'm paying $8 or $9 to make the books and ship the books, and I'm only left with a couple of grand, unfortunately, I can't reinvest that into comics. I'm going to have to keep that money, whatever's left, just to keep myself afloat and have some money. You know what I mean? The last time I took my last $1,000 and dumped it into this comic. I can't do that again. I won't do that again. So I'm not saying I quit. Okay? Those words aren't coming out of my mouth, but I am saying I'm taking a long extended break. And then once my situation changes, then there will be a reassessment. And that assessment will be, okay, and that depends on the situation. Like if I'm doing well money-wise and I'm, I'm not sweating it anymore. And I'm like, okay, things are going good. I got a job. Maybe I've worked it for a year and it's steady and I'm happy. Then maybe we can look at doing a new comic again. But if I'm, 6 months from now, if I'm still in this same spot, still financially struggling, still in this same headspace, yeah, maybe I'm out, One thing on this channel that I've always strived to do was be as transparent as possible about these things, about the journey, about what works, about what doesn't work, about the good times, the bad times, the ups, the downs, about falling down, getting dirty, brushing that dirt off, walking again, falling down, getting dirty, getting dirtier, brushing that off, and trying again. Man, if anyone deserves an E on their report card, it's me, for E for effort. E for effort. But F for financial failure. Good question. I think it starts and ends with Outbreak 4 and 5. We're going to put Outbreak 4 and 5. Outbreak 4 has already been submitted to AP last week. Outbreak 5 will be submitted to them once it's done. And they'll put out those 2 issues. And that's going to be it until I decide what I'm doing with comics. So we'll definitely get those 2 issues out through Antarctic. But also consider any business with Antarctic to be on hold after that. Unless the sensei has some sort of incredible idea that I can't pass up. But I can't do anything that's going to cost me money. In fact, I have to start canceling subscriptions. I have to cancel my Dropbox that eats up $20 a month. I'm going to have to cancel my PlayStation PSN network subscription that eats up $18 a month. I have to lower every expenditure I have until I am working. And I don't mean just working a couple of days. Until I've had a job and I've been holding on to it for a good year. Then I can turn around and go, okay, what's my financial situation now? And is it worth coming back? Or should I just, say, hey, comics were great for the 10 years I did it and move on? And I don't know what it's going to be. I have an idea of what it's going to be. And it's probably going to take longer for me to come back than I think it's going to. But man, oh man, did we ever put in a good run? 'Cause we ran hard. And we didn't win every race. But fuck did we ever try. And I know that some of you out there look at me for inspiration. You look at me as a guy that maybe you wanted to emulate or try and reach the success that Nyobi has had. But half of that is an illusion. Some of the people that came up to me this weekend were all amazed with what I've been able to do, right? And they want to be where I'm at, But they don't know that it's an illusion. They don't know that I'm on here telling you that $14,000 isn't enough per Kickstarter to keep me going. And these are cats that are running $2,000 Kickstarters, right? And I'm here saying 14 grand isn't enough. At one point it was. 5-6 years ago, I would have been ecstatic. But we've been there and done that. Every business needs to grow. Not flounder and not go backwards. It needs to grow. But what has happened with Nyobi is it has floundered. And we have gone backwards, right? We've gone from 30. I mean, I can just show you, you know? Let me just show you. Give me a second here. And there's lots of contributing factors to that, you know? Some people just lost interest in Kickstarter comics. And that also has a variety of reasons. Some people just don't have the money. They would like to back, but can't afford to back. That happens a lot, you know. Some people just, you know, it's a fad for them. It was fun for a while. Yeah, Kickstarters, da. And then they're like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm kind of done with comics, or I'm done with crowdfunding, you know. And I can show you how this worked with real numbers, right? I think that's what people want to see is actual numbers, right? So let me go ahead and show you the climb and then the fall, because you will go so high and then you're going to fall. It's going to happen. The one thing I won't do here is come on here and blow smoke up your ass and tell you that, oh yeah, you know, everything is fantastic and everything is great, when it's not. You know, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit here and you know, piss in your face but tell you it's raining. Okay? I won't do that. What I will do is this. And maybe we can make that a little bit bigger, because I really want you guys to see the numbers. Nyobi number 1, 64 backers, 2,302 Canadian duck bucks. I talked to people this weekend. This is where they're at right now. First comic book, maybe second, right? And they're hovering around that $2,000 mark, you know, less than 100 backers. First thing I told them is, yeah, I know, I you know, I've been there, right? Definitely have been there, you know. I feel the pain. I said, you know, my words of encouragement though were, hey, look, that's your foundation now, right? Now you build from that. And that's exactly what we tried to do, you know. As you see, Nyobi number 2 did 2761 with 99 backers. That's growth. It's small growth, but it's growth. Nyobi the swimsuit edition, which is essentially Nyobi number 3, did $3,838 with 104 backers. Again, that's growth. We got 5 more backers, but we got basically $1,000 more. That, and every dollar counts in this business. Nyobi number 4, the Broken Kiss, did $42.85 with 112 backers. And then, you know, when I say growth, right, these are baby steps that takes years to accomplish. Avani Origins number 1, a little bit less money than number 4, but more backers. Now, this is where the real growth happens, right? With Nyobi Birthright. And you're going to see the growth, and then you're going to see the fall, okay? Growth. Nyobi number 1, Birthright. 221 backers. $72.55. $7,255, which is essentially double in backers and double in money. Why did that happen? Well, Paul Green is a big part of that. We had a Paul Green cover, and it sold. Plus, we changed artists. Plus, we went to color. There was a lot of pluses in there. 7,000 wasn't enough. Then we get to Nyobi Birthright number 2, and this is the first time that I had a campaign go into 5 figures. Okay, with 16,343 Canadian dollars, with 374 backers. Then we did Nyobi Origins number 1. $24,374 with 400 backers even. See the growth? 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 Right, I need growth like this right now, and I don't have it. Nyobi Outbreak, number 1. Best campaign we ever ran. Had 12, 13 variant covers, cost me a fuckload of money. But, it was kind of what really, made me think that, hey, maybe there's a shot at doing this full time. If we can consistently do $30,000 Kickstarters, hey, maybe we can get somewhere. Well, unless if it's a number 1 and you got superstars on your project, maybe that's not going to happen. I learned that the hard way. We put out Nyobi the trade paperback because I was desperate for money. So we put out Origins and Birthright into a trade, and we did almost $14,000. Okay, that gave me a little extra money. Not much, but it was enough to get number 2 going. So we did Nyobi Outbreak number 2, and as you can see, did not do as well as number 1. It did $21,000 and change. We did Savage Syn number 1, which did $15,000 and change. But Savage Syn number 1, backer-wise, is the most backers I ever had on a project. But you know what happened with this? Most of them went for $5 digital. Not making a lot of money that way. Then we did the cosplay edition, which were just reprints with new wrapping paper. That did $103 and $7,700 and change. Did Nyobi Penguina, number 1, $13,000. Like, we're far from $20,000 campaigns now. You know what I mean? Did Savage Syn, number 2, $12,000 and change. Did Nyobi Outbreak number 3, and this is in 2024, did, almost 20, did $18,000. Okay, but this is where we start to fall. Nyobi number 2, the remastered edition, not even $7,000. Nyobi Outbreak number 4, really close to $16,000, but not quite. Nyobi Outbreak number 5, $16,000. And these are tentative projects that I'm thinking about doing. The point is where we stand currently is $16,000 is about the average that I can make on one of these. Where I want to be here with $30,000. I need to be doubling the money. It needs to be back at $30,000 per campaign for me to stay in business. And if it's not that, then I don't know if I can keep going. Those are the numbers. That's how it breaks down. Now, if we do find enough money, $6,000 somewhere, and I'm able to put out a brand new Nyobi number 1, because everything, if I do continue, if I'm lucky enough to continue, everything's going to be a one-shot moving forward. Everything is going to be a one-shot moving forward. Everything's going to have a number 1 right by it, because that's what people want. They don't want to jump in on the middle of something, even though the older issues are available. And that means that's just more for them to spend now, So everything's got to be a number 1. Everything's got to be a one-shot. To try and do an ongoing series on Kickstarter, man, I wouldn't even want to attempt it. Wouldn't even want to attempt it. Trying to do a mini-series took me almost 4 years. For a 5-issue miniseries. Almost 4 years. Imagine watching a TV show and you only get to watch an episode once per year. Where we're used to buying comics monthly and for a lot cheaper. So that is like legit the tales of the tape. Take questions if you have any. Like, now is the time to sort of ask anything if you want to ask me. Because I won't be doing too many more of these comic book podcasts. A lot of this, like, you know, the rest of the summer is going to be gaming. And we know how much attention I get on this channel when I do gaming. It's basically 0 to none. But that's what I like to do, you know? So I'd rather do that than be stressed out over this business, you know? I'd rather, you know, dip my foot out of the water than sink and drown. You know what I mean? I have to be making $30,000 campaigns, because even then you're losing over half of that money, right? Because if you're only going to be able to do a Kickstarter 2 or 3 times per year, you need to be making 10 grand easy profit net in your pocket at the end of each and every one of those, in my eyes, for it to be worth it financially to do. It's just I'm broke, bro. I mean, that's what it is. It's not even being burnt out, though I'm sure that's part of it. It's just, I'm stressed over money, man. I'm stressed over money. That's what it is, you know? And, you know, I'm a person that didn't save for the future. I don't have investments. I don't have a savings account. I don't have anything. You know? I didn't do the things in life that I should have been doing when I was growing up. And now I'm at that age where I'm paying the price for all that. And I'm at that age now where I got to really kick it in high gear somehow to not be completely fucked. You know? That's kind of where we're at with things. And so we'll see. Everything is a we'll see. We'll see where we are in 3 months from now. We'll see where we are in 6 months from now. We'll see how things look 12 months from now, you know. And as much as I like to think I'm able to tell the future, as much as I love to be able to wave out that crystal ball and say, you know what, in 6 months, everything's going to be just fine. In 6 months, I will be back. I don't know. And that's the most honest fucking real answer that I can give to anybody, you know. And to anyone that may feel let down over this, I apologize. But I got to start doing what's best for me and not what people think or want to see from me. I start doing what's best for my family. And if this comic book thing is what's holding me back, then that needs to be put on the shelf for a bit. I knew that this speech was coming for the last couple of months. People on this channel, you know, you've heard me him and haw over this several times. But what I really wanted was to get through this convention before I really started talking about it too much. I wanted to do my WrestleMania moment and then say I might retire. Maybe I'll put my boots back on like Brock Lesnar at some point. I don't know. I know that I'm going to be putting a lot more comic books on my eBay store. I know that. I know that I got a massive sort of reorganization and cleanup to do here. I know that. I know that these things are not coming to the grave with me. So I'm looking to move product and not accumulate product, but move product. And I'm tired of trying to please everyone. The only person now I want to please is my mother and myself. And I'm not even mad about this. You know, there's something I had to really learn these last few years, and it's a term called acceptance, where sometimes you just have to accept the cards that are dealt to you. And I've never been one for acceptance. I've always been the one who, man, fight it, fight it, fight it. But sometimes you just have to accept it. I'm 51. I have to accept the fact I'm never going to have kids. I have to accept the fact that I'm probably never getting married. You know, stranger things could happen. But, you know, the law of averages say by this age, no. Have to accept the fact that Nyobi isn't going to be the household name I want it to be. Have to accept the fact that maybe $30,000 Kickstarters is not realistic right now. Have to accept the fact that I need to be out there busting my butt and maybe less time on here. It's a lot of accepting that needs to be done. And I'm not very good with that. Because I worry that I'm going to be the guy that's, you know, chiseling that tunnel with his pickaxe and then gives up right before he reached the pot of gold. I'm worried that that's me. But at the same time, what if you're making that tunnel, you're digging for that gold, and there is no gold? And you wasted your whole life chasing Moby Dick for what? For what? More stress? More problems? More financial woe? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You know, I've been doing a lot of reflection lately. A lot of reflection. And I've hemmed and hawed, and I've changed my mind, and, you know, and I've come back to it, and I've changed my mind again. But the numbers don't lie. And when you look at the bank account, that is the slap in the face that says, reality. This is reality, not fantasy. Fantasy is, yeah, I got all these projects planned, and we're going to do all these books. Reality is you don't have 2 cents to rub together. You can't do shit. That's reality. And I didn't want to say anything until I was done this convention. I wanted to give the illusion at that convention that things were on the up and up and things were fine. They're not. But now that that event is done, I can now go, okay, we can, part ways there. I got to do what one of my goals was to be a guest, and I got to do it. That chapter's now closed, right? Because I don't want to be at a convention if I'm just selling the same stuff that I sold 3 years ago. That's the thing. I don't want to, just, be some guy who's living off a 7-year-old past glory, I want to be there with that next each and every time. I had a lot of people come out to me and say, yeah, I know I pick up something, but I already got everything you have. You know why? That's because I've been overexposed. Because I do all the small little cons. Manga Expo, LC Con, the MCE, right? Things like that. And so I see the same people. So if you see me every month, it's really not that special anymore. And you have everything. I honestly think that guests need to be cycled in and cycled out. Because you keep seeing the same people, it gets boring. It gets boring really quick. And, I'm sure people are bored to see me each and every show. Oh, there's that Nyobi guy again, And I get it, you know. I mean, a lot of guests that were around this year, I've seen multiple times. I didn't need to get anything signed or buy anything because I've essentially been there and done that, you know. Like I said, there was a couple I talked to, Jed McKay, Mike Ruth. Man, I'm hard pressed to think of who else, to be honest with you. The majority of my time was spent talking to the new creators, the guys and girls that were in Artist Alley, busting their hump, just praying and hoping that someone would come and look at their stuff. Those were the people that I talked to. Those were the people that I felt deserved my time more than anyone else. And there were a handful of them. And they all knew who I was, and they all had questions for me, which is exactly the reason why I was there. That part of things makes me feel really good. But when I'm getting dirty looks from people, when I'm seeing people walk by and see me and they immediately turn their head like I fucking don't exist, that bothers me. And I'm not doing that anymore. And I don't have to anymore. We're going back to the basics, man. Me and you, right here, online. We're going to continue to push the eBay store all summer long. While we're fulfilling books, while we're mailing out Outbreak number 5, that's priority number 1, outside of finding a job. And when that last book goes out in the mail, I'm going to lean back in this chair. I'm going to take a deep breath of sigh of relief. And then we're moving on to the next chapter of whatever that's going to be. So, to my advocate, if you're out there listening, sir, thank you so much for everything you've done. You made my appearance possible. You were able to get my name in lights, and I'm never going to forget that. Ever. I don't forget people who put their necks out on the line for me. And if it wasn't for this particular individual, I wouldn't have been there anyway. And I don't know if it was worth it for that particular person or not. I don't know how much trouble they had to go through to make that happen. I heard it was quite a bit. I just want to thank you. Thank you publicly for making that happen. You brought me closure to a wound that was left open for 7 years. Now it's what's next. Now it's where do we go from here? But I gotta say, I'm done trying to prove myself to anybody, man. And that's what I felt like I had to do for 3 years straight. And still, by many, not all, but by some, still got treated like the black sheep. Still got treated like I didn't belong. I'm just not doing it anymore, man. I just don't have it in me to do it anymore. Blight Blazer says he'll still get some physical pigtails. Yeah, well, I still have some stuff left. But I am looking to move most of this. I'm looking to move most of it. You know what I did get? I had to buy my own book. It was wild. But someone had brought in a comic book collection to the local comic book shop. And in that collection was a first print Nyobi number 1. So I bought it because I don't have any You know how many people ask me for a first print of Nyobi #1? I have one graded, and I have one on my wall that's signed by the entire team. Neither one of those were for sale. My graded one I'm keeping, my signed one I'm keeping. No extras. Now I have an extra one. And I don't know if I want to sell it. You know what I mean? And if I do sell it, I ain't selling it for cheap. I won't be selling it for $20 because that's what I bought it for. I'll sell it for $100, maybe. Maybe I'll even ask for more. First print, Nyobi #1, 2014, The Labor of Love. I was lucky to find it at the shop. It was weird. I'm like, man, can I get a discount buying my own book? You know? But I'm glad I have it because now I do have one. And if someone wants one bad enough, well, I got one kicking around. Because I did have people message me like, hey, how can I get the original 5 issues? How can I get the black and white stuff? And I'm like, whoa, that's a tall order, man. Because I haven't reprinted that shit. Well, I've reprinted #1, but it's a third printing. And you know how comic book collectors are. They want a first printing. We reprinted #2. Had to do that because the original #2 was just atrocious with my very bad lettering. So I wanted the book redone. We had it relettered. And then I had it colored. Same time. Why not? It's like giving it the George Lucas treatment. You know? But occasionally, point being is I do get these people that want the old stuff. And I don't have it. Well, I have my own personal archive copies of each, and that's it. You know, the one last guy, and this was a couple months ago, contacted me about that. I said, look, no one bought Outbreak at the show. No one was interested in, you know, issues. No, I shouldn't say. I think one person bought a set, and that was it. But everyone that came up to the table wanted the origin story or the first issue or the trade. Those were the things that sold the most, right? Nyobi Origins, Nyobi #1, the third printing, Nyobi, the trade paperback. No one gave a shit about the new stuff. I think I may have sold one copy of the Superverse. Because people want the beginning. I could have set up shop and just had Nyobi Origins on the table and just sold those and I would have been fine. But thanks for telling me about the muted microphone. Because this microphone has a loose connection. And I think that's half the problems for my audio issues, you know. If not all the problems for my audio issues. But yeah, I'm just tired of playing the game. You know. I'm waving the white flag, man. I fucking give up, man. So one-shots, if we come back at all, it's going to be one-shots. I think the comic book industry in the whole is changing. And I think it's all the way from the bottom up, man. I think Marvel and DC are going through shifts. I think Image Comics is going through shifts. I think all the sort of medium-sized publishers, like you see, Dark Horse and their employees unionizing. We see these layoffs happening and these reshuffles and reorganization tactics and, every sort of tchotchke and gimmick that people can think of in order to attempt to sell comic books to largely an audience that I feel is not interested. I mean, desperately trying to figure out how to get people interested. This is my plan, says Fatal J. After Ninja Blast 3, I'm doing nothing but one-shots for the rest of my library. He says, the kids are eating up one-shots and graphic novels. And this is it. This is what you're saying is my exact sort of findings, if you will. Right? This is what I've discovered, You can just move that box right there. But I do have company now. Someone has just walked in here, so I think I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm sure we'll touch base again. We'll talk about all this again at some point. But I'm just getting ready to enjoy a break.